But as Avril says, why'd you have to go and make things so complicated?
Yeah.
And I really think about that all the time.
I thought you were going to say he was a skater boy. She says you leave your boy.
I mean, that is also very relatable.
Or, hey, you, I don't like your girlfriend.
I thought you were going to make a joke and be like, he was a boy and he was a boy. Can I make it any more obvious?
Wow, Avril Lavigne, truly the prophet of our times.
Who'd have thunk it?
Hello, everyone. Welcome to BYOB, the Bring Your Own Book podcast. I'm Tilly.
I'm Nikki.
And I'm Kelly.
So, a few weeks ago, I binged the new Netflix series Heartstopper in like a day and a half, and I had so many pure and wholesome feelings about it. I just had so many feelings. I knew it was based on a graphic novel series of the same name by Alice Oseman, but I hadn't read it, so I quickly marked it to read on my Goodreads. And then the next thing I know, Kelly is saying, I saw that you wanted to read Heartstopper. I have a copy. I can lend it to you. You can pick it up today. And did you know that there's a new series? We should do a podcast episode. And here we are, dear listeners, bringing you that extra content.
Yes.
So we are so excited to talk about it. I love the series. I know that you two had both read the graphic novels before, right?
Yeah, I was obsessed with the idea of buying the graphic novels probably for over a half a year. Every time Kelly and I went in a bookstore, I'd look at it and be like, oh, maybe I'll buy it. No, that's okay. Maybe next time. So Kelly got it for me for like my birthday or Christmas or something. Mm-hmm. And we have both read all 4 of them. Yes. At least the ones that are out so far.
Yes, the last one, the 5th volume, is coming out next year. I thought it was coming out this year, and then they moved the date, and I was like, no! Because I was so excited!
Yeah. I'm sad there's only 5.
Yeah.
I know. I was kind of surprised there were only 5 volumes when I looked it up, because I remember seeing it like around the internet, because I think it started as a webcomic, right?
Mm-hmm. It did.
Yeah. So I remember, like, I recognized some of the art, and then, looking it up, I had kind of assumed that there were like many installations, and they were just the 5 or just the 4, I guess, and the 5th coming out later, right?
Mm-hmm.
No, wait. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay. Well, I had such a lovely time watching the show. I truly started it like on a Friday night. My partner was doing something else, and I was like, I'm going to watch a cute show. And I started it, and then I woke up the next morning. I was like, I've got to finish it. I only have 2 episodes left.
So, yes, I devoured the graphic novel. I waited probably like 2 months to read it from the library on my Kobo. And so I read it in black and white at first, and it was so sad.
Oh.
But I still loved it. It was so beautiful and heartwarming and just like... just a big cozy hug, honestly. Mm. And so when I finally read it with a physical copy in color, I was like, oh my gosh, the colors are so nice. And I like how it's like monochromatic. It's just really cute and just different. Yeah, I loved it. I waited so long to read it. I read it in like 40 minutes. And then the same thing happened with the second volume. I waited so long, and then I finished it so quickly, and then I was nice and I passed it on to the next person who was waiting online because I waited so long. I will not do that to you, okay?
Yeah, I typically don't reach for graphic novels because they are so short. Like I blow through them so quickly, and I'm kind of have a bit of an obsessive personality. So I'm like, if I like something, I want to fully deep dive into it. I want to know what they ate for breakfast that morning. Mm-hmm. I want to know how long it took them to walk to work. Like, I want to know all that stuff. And with a graphic novel, you just get so little of it because... well, just the nature of, all the art and the drawings, and it just happens. I take it all in so quickly, and then it's over, and I'm like, oh, I need more content. So I always forget that they're really lovely to read, but I always do feel a little bit at the end like, must have more.
Well,
and that feeling stresses me out a little.
There are more. There's companion novels that you could read if you wanted.
Oh,
yeah, I haven't read them yet.
I didn't know that.
Yeah,
by the same author?
Radio Silence is about one of the friends who actually was written out of the show.
Oh.
Because it was Alid or something.
Oh, is this the teacher? No.
No, he was replaced by Isaac in the show.
Yes.
Because Alice wanted to be able to give like a full arc, like story arc, and not have to adhere so much to what was happening in these other books that this character was in. So yeah, and then we got Isaac, who is on the spectrum in the show. So that's lovely.
Yeah.
That is lovely. Just a sweet reader boy.
Yeah.
I know. Everybody's
Yeah.
like looking at the sports and having such a good time, and he's reading, and I'm like, I get you, man.
Yeah,
Me too.
truly. I wish there was like a list that someone had put together that was like all the books that Isaac reads during Heartstopper, because I'd be interested to know.
There might
could
be.
do that.
Yeah. We'll watch it again.
Okay. No argument here.
I do
Nikki,
think
what was your... Oh,
no.
wow.
I was just gonna go into that and continue.
Love it.
I, like Kelly, read the first book in probably about 40 minutes. There's not a lot of text, and I have a really hard time with graphic novels, like sitting and looking at the pictures. I'm not that kind of person. I'm like flip, 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 flip. Done. That was great.
Yeah.
So I do think that it was really cute. I don't think I got really invested in the story until like the third novel, just because there's so little background information and it all felt like very surface set up to get to like the real issues. Like, I'm not gonna go into it because obviously Tilly, you haven't read it yet.
Yeah.
Right.
But so I did enjoy watching the show more than reading the first novel, just because you got so much more nuance with what was going on with everybody. I still hated Tao.
Oh, I
what a
loved Tao.
Garbage friend.
Oh, I liked him. But I have a thing for like intense men.
And so, yeah, I mean, Tao does get redeemed later, but I still didn't
Yes.
like him. And yeah, I don't know. I thought it was really sweet. The characters all embodied the illustrations so well.
Yes.
Kit
They really
Connor, who plays Nick,
Literally looks
so-
like the drawings.
so much like Nick. I was picturing him like just a little bigger,
Yeah.
but like their smile and how they like their mannerisms, he really embodied Nick from the novel, so that was really nice.
I have to say,
So cute.
one of the main things that stood out to me while watching the show was the fact that they got actual teenagers to play
Yes.
teenagers.
Yeah.
And that just makes it so much better, because I don't want to see a 35-year-old jacked up, super handsome, he's already got all this stuff figured out guy, or so we say.
It's not relatable.
No,
Yeah.
playing a teenager? Are you kidding me? If I was a teen still watching that, I would feel like crap, you know? Like, this was just so nice to see, like, real teenagers playing their own age, and it just was so sweet. And like you said, Nikki, they fit the characters so well. Like,
Yeah.
oh my god, just the
You
casting.
could really tell. Yeah, you could really tell that the author of the graphic novel was really heavily involved in the production of the show. Like, I think she was listed as the creator and producer. So you could really tell, because like so much of the design of their rooms, especially, I found like
Yes.
reading the graphic novel after watching the show, I was like, oh my gosh, they look exactly the same. And all those sweet little kind of flourishes that they had of like the leaves
Oh my God.
floating through, kind of like the
Yeah.
cartoon leaves.
Oh,
I was like, oh, so sweet. Like, it just was a really great adaptation.
yes.
I
So
was kind of
whimsical.
surprised. Yeah, it was whimsical. I was kind of surprised at how the first book ended, because it was so soon into the like show, which I guess makes sense because the graphic novel is, you know, they got to tell a story in a kind of like a slower way than they can in a TV show. But I was kind of like, oh my gosh, that's it. I got to read the rest, because they hadn't even really delved into like Tao. I don't think they even introduced Elle yet in the first graphic novel, and she was like such a big part of the show.
Oh, I thought
I don't
did.
remember.
Yeah.
I don't remember a lot of what happened specifically in the first graphic novel because I read them all in a row, so it kind
Right.
of
Yeah.
turns into this blur of like, well, this happened, but I don't really know when it happened.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't even.
I was waiting for Elle because I really liked her character in the show, and I was like, oh, I want to see kind of like how she's portrayed in the novel, and then she just wasn't there at all. And I was also just rooting so hard for Tao and Elle to like figure their feelings out and like fall in love.
Yeah.
Because I love love, and I love watching people fall in love.
Yeah. And like, okay, Tao really ticked me off in the book and the show at the beginning because I was like, you're being dumb, you're being jealous and selfish, and you just need to talk to your friend. But then when everything gets sorted out, then I'm like, okay, great. And you'll see in the graphic novels, like, things shift and the friend group and all these things. But yeah, I just thought it was so well done, and I thought everyone did a really good job at their roles. Like, no one stood out to me as like, oh god, you know, like, I thought it was well done.
The
performances.
The only performance that I was like, I couldn't tell if it was just the kid or if he was a bad actor, but the guy who played Harry, like,
I thought he was so funny.
Some of the stuff that he was saying, I'm like, do you know what you're saying? It's just like the
He
inflection.
really
I was
young.
like,
Yeah.
it was so weird, but I did love his accent.
He did like really embody that like awkward young rich kid who's like trying to be tough. So in that sense, I kind of went back and forth. I was like, oh, I don't think he's a very good actor. And then after a while, I was like, or maybe he is a good actor because he's making me feel uncomfortable.
Yeah.
And that's what that character's supposed to do. So yeah, I was a little conflicted on him too, but I definitely hated him.
Yeah. Speaking of good actors, whoa, the surprise of Olivia Colman. I had no freaking idea.
As Nick's mom, yeah.
And
She like turned around and was like, did you have a good day, Nikki? And I was like, oh my god, Olivia, what are you doing here?
I love her in the book. In one of my Goodreads reviews for one of the volumes, I was like, Nick's mom is the MVP, okay? Like, she is amazing in the book. So I can't wait to see her do more in the show. Oh my god, Tilly, you have to read the rest of these. Like, you're gonna love them. I have them.
Love it. Can't wait. I'll drop off. I will say, Kelly, I was like so nervous reading your copy because I was like, it's so perfect and pristine.
Yeah.
I know Kelly like really hates it if anything ever happens. So like I was like holding it like barely open so that I wouldn't crack the spine. I was like
Just
trying
like me.
everything possible. Yeah. That's what I figured. I'm like, I gotta take care of this book.
Thank
Because
you.
Kelly recently had a bad experience with someone not taking care of a book.
We won't name her.
And I heard about it quite a lot. And I thought, I don't want to be that person. So I'm like extra careful.
Yeah, at least you read the book. And you didn't ruin it.
That's right.
Unlike
that
this
person
other
didn't even read
person.
it. Okay. Well.
Yeah. Anyways, I digress.
Anyway.
I wanted to talk about also the tone of the show and the graphic novel because I'm interested to hear both of your thoughts because I was talking to a coworker about this show and I was like, you need to watch it. You need to read the books. This person is in the LGBTQ community. And I was like, you really need to watch this. I think you're going to love it. It's so heartwarming. And my coworker was like, well, I don't really want to watch it because it's not realistic. And if I was in high school, this would not be the case, which I can totally understand. I explained to this person, I was like, to me, this show is sort of like Schitt's Creek in the sense that everything is so optimistic and hopeful. And everything comes out of love, basically. Like, I don't know exactly what Dan Levy said, but he talked about how he wanted to make something positive, right? And so this show does deal with darker moments and hard issues, especially as you get further into the story. But I always find it comes back to this heartwarming, wholesome place. And I think that's great. So I want to hear both of your thoughts on this tone and the mood. And like, yeah, do you agree with this person? Do you think, I'm curious. Start a dialogue.
I think, I mean, them saying it's not realistic. I don't think that that's necessarily true. I mean, they all get like bullied like mad.
Yeah.
And rejected for being who they are. I think that that is very realistic for some people. Just the fact that they end up being happy at the end of it is also realistic. Some people do end up really happy after bad experiences. So I don't necessarily agree with that, but I guess if they, I don't know, don't want to see it that way, then that's fine. But like, yeah.
Yeah, it does feel in some ways like kind of a fantasy world where everything is kind of like squeaky clean. Like I was thinking as I was watching it, I was like, there's lots of opportunities for like romance and like kissing, but it never goes any further than that. There's like no kind of like sexuality that is really happening, which I think kind of is nice in a way because there's, God knows, there's lots of like heterosexual love stories that are told in that way, especially set in high school. And I think a lot of the time when it comes to like LGBTQ plus stories, there's like almost too much focus, or not too much, I guess it's like subjective, but there can often be a lot of focus on like sex. And it was kind of refreshing in a way to see a story that chose not to focus on that, but rather in like a romantic love and like falling, like having a crush and like, oh, you touch hands. Like it almost felt like kind of like a Jane Austen story in that way. Like every moment became so much more meaningful because it was like hopeful.
Yeah.
And that I found that kind of relatable to my high school experience in that way, that kind of like, oh my gosh, like what if we see each other and what if they like try to hold my hand? And it was like very pure in that way.
Yeah.
Obviously that's not the only kind of story that can be out there. And I don't think any show should be like everything to everyone. But I thought that was a really kind of nice tone that it chose to take, and it really committed to. It was like there was bullying and there was like some icky moments with Ben and Charlie, but it didn't focus on like characters' trauma. It focused on like the characters falling in love, which was really lovely.
Yeah, I agree. And their connection together of like their connection, but also discovering who they are as individuals within the community and outside the community, because you have someone coming in who is figuring out his sexuality, right? And this other guy who he is pretty comfortable with his sexuality, but still not comfortable in his environment, right? Because it's not always welcoming. And it was just so sweet seeing them like navigate it together, and all these cute moments of them running around the house and going bowling. And I just was like, I want to give everyone a hug.
Yeah. Some people aren't into like such sweet pieces of media, and maybe that's what your coworker was like.
Maybe
it doesn't feel real because it's like too cringy. They're too honest and vulnerable with their feelings, and like that's fine. That's absolutely
I think
okay.
Normally I'm like, ugh, get a room, but this was just so innocent and pure. I'm like, how could I not just smile? I kid you not, I literally watched the first 3 episodes, and then my husband came home and I was like, you have to watch this with me, and I restarted it that same night. So loved it. We want to take a minute just to remind everyone about our amazing sponsor for this episode, Ana Luisa, who has given us a discount code for all of you, capital BYOB, for 10% off.
We've had the pleasure of them sponsoring a few of our other episodes as well, and we are so thankful to them.
If you missed our last 2 episodes, Ana Luisa is a company based in the United States that produces beautiful, comfortable, and sustainable jewelry pieces.
Everything about the company, from the products themselves to the packaging, are completely carbon neutral, which is so important, especially now when so many things are being shipped around the world.
We've all been wearing their products for the last few months, and they create such cute, minimalist pieces that are good for literally every occasion.
So again, if you'd like to get some cute jewelry of your own, please head over to their website and use our code capital BYOB to get 10% off your order. You can also find the link to their site on our Instagram page.
Thanks again so much to Ana Luisa, and now we will hop back into the episode.
I do like that they made the episodes short I mean, the whole thing to watch was the length of like 2 movies, basically.
Yeah.
So that was nice because there isn't a lot of subtext to anything going on. So they didn't beat around the bush. They just did what happened in the book and they moved on, which was really nice because when I was starting the show, I was like, I don't know if this is going to be like adding a lot of stuff and I don't want it to like drag anything out. One of the reasons I really liked the books is because they were just really like to the point and fun. So that was nice. I think that like just talking about the tone and everything, it really was almost an exact interpretation of the novel and having Alice Oseman so involved. And I think because it was based on a graphic novel and it was already so visual to begin with, it really lent to having that exact book to screen adaptation. So that was really nice.
Yeah.
I have to confess something to both of you, which is not very generous of me, but I found Charlie to be a little annoying near the end.
Charlie.
Just because
his like, don't talk to me and I'm gonna run away from you. I was like, stop being such a teenager.
Well, for me, it was more so that, like, I think because I saw a lot of my teenage self in him of, like, I just apologizing for existing and, like, you know, not believing people when they tell you that they love you or that they think you're wonderful. And I can relate to that as a teenager, but just seeing it as an adult, I was like, oh, come on, sweet baby, you can do it. Like, just like let it happen. Be okay with people loving you. Like, don't apologize. But that's just a 2020 hindsight kind of thing. But reading the book, the graphic novel, that's not as apparent that that's what's going on in Charlie's mind. So it was interesting to me that they kind of made that choice in the show to really like amp up Charlie's kind of like anxieties about everything.
It's more apparent in later books, like how they brought in Elle earlier and Tal finding out about Nick and Charlie earlier and everything. That's something that is explored more, but probably because of the nature of what the media is, you have to add that in earlier, or else people are just going to be like, wow, that's really interesting. In season 2, Charlie became a whole different person.
Yeah.
True.
What was everyone's favorite part of either the book or show?
Oh, easy. No problem. When Charlie says they're in the like hotel at Harry's birthday and Charlie's like, oh, anyway, blah, 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 a girl. And Nick was like, who says that I have a crush? Who says it has to be a girl? And Charlie's like, would you date someone who wasn't a girl? And then it's like hearts are bubbling up in the air. Yeah. And Nick is like, yes. And Charlie was like, would you kiss someone who wasn't a girl? And Nick was like, yes. And then Charlie was like, would you kiss me? And then Nick was like, yeah, I think so. And then they kiss. I melted into a little puddle of goo. I was so happy.
I have to say, all of the parts with them where, like, that scene, you see, like, Charlie's foot moves over and they put their hand down, and then when they're in the movie theater and they're like intertwining like pinkies or whatever, and I was like, that's so cute, but at the same time I was also cringing because I do remember what it was like to be a teenager, and I remember doing shit like that, and I was like, I just wanted to be like, oh my god, kid, just grab their hand.
The anxiety. The anxiety I felt in a movie theater next to a boy when they hold your hand or they like draw circles on your hand, I was like, like the whole movie. I'm so glad I don't miss that. It was scary.
Yeah, everything feels like such a big deal when you're that age.
Yeah.
Because it's like, you're so unsure of like, how do I do things? Like, how do they think I want to do things? And like, how are they thinking about things? Like, everything is so complicated.
I'm still there at times.
Yeah. But as Avril says, why'd you have to go and make things so complicated?
Yeah.
And I really think about that all the time.
I thought you were going to say he was a skater boy. She says you leave your boy.
I mean, that is also very relatable.
Or, hey, you, I don't like your girlfriend.
I thought you were gonna make a joke and be like, he was a boy and he was a boy. Can I make it any more obvious?
Wow, Avril Lavigne, truly the prophet of our times.
Who'd have thunk it?
Yeah.
My favorite part, I think, the first thing that comes to mind is when they're in the arcade and Charlie and Nick kind of look around like, is anyone looking? Is anyone looking? Oh. And they get close together and then they have a sweet little peck and then they break away and it's like, oh, okay, back to playing games. You know, like, oh, I didn't know I was such a romantic. Apparently I am.
You didn't know you were? Come on. I knew you were.
It's so sweet. And I honestly cannot wait. All giggling aside about how cute everybody is, I cannot wait to see more of Olivia Colman, Nick's mom. Nick's mom.
Yeah.
And just I don't want to say the drama, but it is drama. The drama that unfolds in the rest of the series, like, stuff gets pretty intense at times, but I never felt while reading or watching the show, I never felt heavy or super upset. I always was like, no, this is going to end well. We're going to have the happy ending. Everyone's going to be okay. And sometimes that's what you really need, honestly. Like, we're not going to ignore the issues, but we're going to be positive and optimistic. And I friggin' loved it. I ate that shit up. I will eat it up breakfast, lunch, and dinner every day. Thank you, Alice. Please continue.
Nikki, what was your favorite part?
I don't know. I did really like in the show a lot of the parts that were just Tao and Elle by themselves and them navigating their relationship. You do see a lot more in the first season. Elle's feelings for Tao. I'm assuming in the second season it's going to be explored that Tao has feelings for Elle.
I want them to make out so bad. I'm like, just do it.
I know.
Figure each other out.
Do it.
I know. So I really did like their like movie nights that they did.
Yeah.
And when she helps him draw his picture and then he writes Tao and Elle on the bottom and the signature, that was super cute.
My heart.
I know. And just basically anytime you saw Kit Connor smile, I was like, this baby angel.
So
truly like a golden retriever pup.
Yes, which is how they describe him really in the book. So
yes.
Perfect. Oh my god.
I do.
Good work.
I have to say, and I might cut this out because it might come off weird, but you see just how you were saying earlier, Kelly, that it was so nice to see teenagers play teenagers. I'm watching Riverdale right now, where it's obviously not teenagers.
Yeah.
And I'm like, these people are also hot, but also they're supposed to be high schoolers, and that's really fucking confusing. And then when I was watching this, I was like, it feels so good to watch a show about high schoolers and not be like, am I sexually attracted to you? Because I was just like, look at these sweet kids.
Yes.
Doing kid stuff.
Yes.
Not burning down their mob dad's house or funneling money into some secret gambling ring or whatever people in Riverdale do.
Maybe
Honestly.
that's in like season 2 of Heartstopper. Maybe they take a hard turn.
Spoiler!
They're all replaced by 40-year-olds with scruff.
Yeah. I mean, there's even a part, I don't remember if it was in the show, it was definitely in the book, where Charlie is like, I don't really want to go past kissing. And Nick's like, yeah, me neither. That's totally fine. And it's just like lighthearted, fun.
Yeah.
Like, because that's not to say that teenagers aren't having sex, but like, I don't think anyone who is still just trying to figure everything out is going to hop so quickly to sex. So I agree.
Well,
this was just so nice to see teenagers being teenagers and like just living.
I think too, even as people who have sex, like even as people who are older and have had sex before, I know about other people's experiences that are similar to this. Just when you start having sex, there's this expectation almost always that
Yeah.
when you make out with somebody, it will always lead to sex.
Mm-hmm.
And that's damaging, and that makes it
Yeah.
not fun anymore. It's nice to just kiss somebody sometimes and not feel like I have to like put out or whatever. I have to do
Yeah.
more. I have to go all the way with this person. It can just be kissing and a good time, and then you can say goodbye and be like, great, that was
Yeah.
fun.
Sorry, can you
Catch you
repeat
later.
that in case no one heard that? It's fun if you... What? Sorry?
Yeah, it's about intimacy, and sometimes, like, especially when you're in high school, you don't have a lot of like intimate moments with people, and
Yeah.
so kissing, like being that close to someone and kind of like fumbling and like figuring it out can be really, really intimate, and that's not the only way. Like, I think sex is not the only way to be intimate with somebody.
Yeah.
And yeah, people tend to forget that when you get older. So
Yeah.
that is
Mhm.
nice to, it is nice to see. And it's just like representative of a person's experience. Like, it doesn't have to be that this is every like LGBTQ plus person's
No,
experience.
yeah.
This is just Charlie and Nick's experience. And I think
Mhm.
it's lovely.
Yeah. 5 out of 5 for me. 5 out of 5 for the adaptation. I think it's one of the better adaptations we've seen in the past few years because
I agree.
it's so true to the source material, and it holds well on its own, and it just is the perfect companion to the novel, in my opinion. 5 out of 5 across the board, or 10s across the board. Love it.
Yeah, this was a 5-star for me too. Both. It was just such a good time. I have no complaints. I can't wait for season 2.
Yeah, I think I ended up giving it like a 4 out of 5 just because it was the first installment. I think I need to read the rest. It did feel like I want more.
Yeah.
Which is good.
Yes.
But I'm sure once I finish the whole series, I'll be like completely in my feelings, like bawling my
Yes.
eyes out over love.
Yes.
And okay, I have a recommendation for both of you from my sister, who reads a lot of webcomics and really recommends this one about like 2 hockey players falling in love called Check Please.
Okay, yes. Okay.
She loves it, and I was telling her about Heartstopper, and she was like, "Tilly, you gotta read Check Please," and she sent me a link. So
Okay.
I'll share.
I've heard of that, but I've never looked into it. So okay. Oh my god, I'm so excited.
yeah, I don't think they have a print version of it. I think it's just on the web.
I
but-
think there is one.
Oh, maybe I'm wrong.
Either way, I'm gonna check it out.
Yeah.
Check it out.
Please. Sorry, had to.
Wow, can you tell we came up with that on the spot?
Improv. We're so natural.
yeah. Yes, and
And we can't forget, I'm sorry, I need to bring up that beach day. That was true
Oh,
happiness.
that's the beach day of my dreams.
Yes. And the doggy. I'm so glad the dog is at the show. How could you not have her there?
Well, I had such a fun time watching this delightful show. Hopefully you had a fun time listening to us delightfully discuss it. So thank you so much for listening to this episode of the BYOB podcast. If you enjoyed this and want to hear more from us, you can head over to our social media accounts to keep up to date on all things BYOB. Join us this summer for our J.R.R. Tolkien mini-series. We'll be releasing 7 episodes over the summer discussing The Hobbit and the Lord of the Rings trilogy. We're so excited to share that with you. So until then, see you next time, and keep on reading because you know we will. Cheers!